This story is inspired by the events in 2 Kings 11 and 2 Chronicles 22, 10-23-21. It tells the story of Joash, also called Jehoash, being hidden in the temple and later becoming king. This is part of the history of the kings of Judah and Israel. The story starts in the house of King Ahab, and he has a child called Athaliah. Athaliah was born the daughter of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel of Israel. Raised in a court steeped in the worship of Baal, she learned ambition, power, and ruthless idolatry from her mother. Her mother was Jezebel, the wife of the king who promoted Baal worship in Israel, persecuted the prophets of the Lord, and fought against Elijah the prophet. Jezebel's influence shaped her daughter Athaliah, turning her heart away from the God of Israel and toward the shadows of pride and pagan ritual. The God of Judah and Israel hated Baal worship, and this was practiced when Athaliah grew up in Ahab's home. To seal a political alliance between Israel and Judah, Athaliah was married to King Jehoram of Judah, with support from her mother. She became queen consort and introduced Baal worship to the southern kingdom. But Jehoram, her husband, walked in the evil ways, similar to that practiced in the house of King Ahab. King Jehoram even killed his own brothers to secure his throne. Because of his wickedness and that of his wife Athaliah, the Lord struck him with a terrible intestinal disease. His bowels came out, and he died in great agony, unmourned by his people, leaving a vacuum of power that Athaliah was ready to fill. After King Jehoram's death, and with the help of Athaliah, their son Ahaziah became king at age 22. Athaliah, now queen mother, encouraged him in evil. She made him ambitious, and encouraged him to look up to his uncle, the king of Israel, which was Athaliah's brother. The Bible notes she was his counselor in doing wickedly. Unfortunately, there was little love between them. Athaliah's heart, hardened by ambition, showed no warmth toward her son Ahaziah and her daughter Jehosheba. Her daughter wanted to know more about God and actually married a Levi priest. She, however, showed no warmth toward her daughter Jehosheba or her future grandchildren born by her son Ahaziah. Her loyalty was only to the power of her idols. She was evil in the sight of the Lord. Ahaziah, the son of Athaliah by invitation, joined his uncle, King Joram of Israel, in battle against Aram for control of the strategic city of Ramoth-Gilead. This was in the Syrian nation, and they both were ambitious. King Joram was the son of Ahab and wanted to expand his kingdom, but the Lord had anointed Jehu to destroy the house of Ahab for their many evils. After being secretly anointed by a prophet, Jehu returned to the army camp. His fellow captains rejoiced. Jehu killed Joram, then pursued Ahaziah. Though Ahaziah fled, he was mortally wounded and died at Megiddo. Jehu then returned to the palace and had the wicked Jezebel killed. Jehu's killing of Ahaziah created the power vacuum in Judah. We continue the story in 2 Kings 11. Upon hearing of her son's death, Athaliah arose and destroyed all the royal heirs of the house of Judah. This shockingly included her own grandsons and relatives to seize the throne, for her power had no limits, and her grandsons were merely obstacles to be destroyed. She became the only woman to rule Judah as queen regnant, reigning for 6 years. But Jehosheba, Athaliah's own daughter and sister of Ahaziah, bravely stole away the infant Joash, the only survivor of the massacre. With her husband, the high priest Jehoiada, she hid him and his nurse in the temple of the Lord, safe from his grandmother's murderous reach. For 6 years, young Joash was raised in secret in the house of the Lord. Jehoiada and Jehosheba taught him faith, righteousness, and the ways of David's line. Though hidden from his grandmother's wrath, he grew strong under God's protection, a living promise being prepared for the throne. In the 7th year of Athaliah's reign, the high priest Jehoiada organized a carefully planned coup inside the temple of the Lord on the Sabbath. He gathered loyal captains of the guard, soldiers, and Levites. Young Joash, now 7 years old, was finally brought out of hiding. Jehoiada placed the crown on Joash's head, gave him the testimony, and anointed him as king. The people clapped and shouted, "Long live the king!" They blew trumpets and rejoiced with singers and instruments. The noise was loud and celebratory, reaching the palace gates. Queen Athaliah was in the palace when she heard the unusual shouting and celebration coming from the temple. Curious and alarmed, she rushed out. When she entered the temple court, she saw young King Joash standing by the royal pillar. In shock and fury, she tore her clothes and screamed, "Treason! Treason!" Jehoiada acted quickly. "Take her out between the ranks." They seized her and led her to the king's palace area, where she was executed for her crimes. The people then went to the temple of Baal and tore it down. They destroyed the altars and idols, cleansing Jerusalem of the queen's corruption. Jehoiada made a new covenant between the Lord, the king, and the people, promising they would be the Lord's people again. The city became quiet and rejoiced. From a baby hidden in the temple, Joash became king at 7 years old. God had preserved the Davidic line through one brave woman's courage. A reminder that even in the darkest ambition and violence, God's promises endure. He makes all things new. This has been a Mercy Studio production. Kindly like, share, and subscribe to the channel to help us continue to produce similar content.